All right, people, here we go. We are closing in on it. Toolkit 36. Are you kidding me? We're almost at the end of the year. This is exciting. Law of sines. Okay, so law of sines, this allows us to go outside of 90-degree angles and 90-degree triangles for trigonometry, which is pretty cool. So we can solve triangles that don't include a 90-degree angle anywhere. Okay, so to do that, we're going to use either law of sines or law of cosines. And they're super helpful and not too hard to use. It's just some basic algebra as you go. Okay, so we're going to solve this triangle right here. We'll do two examples. This one's angle, angle, side. This is angle, side, angle. These are the two things that law of sines helps you do. Okay, so the law of sines is sine of angle A over side A equals sine of angle B over side B equals sine of angle C over side C. Okay, so basically the ratios of these are all going to be equal to each other. It's pretty genius, pretty cool. There's a cool proof for this, but I'm not gonna throw that at you. All right, so first thing you have to do is name the sides and the angles. So we have A, B, C, and remember the sides are opposite. So little a must be over here. Little b is opposite B, little c is opposite C. So they always have to be opposite of each other. I like to have a little area where I can work towards. So angle A, angle B, angle C, and I like to say what they're equal to. And then I like to do side A, side B, side C, and what they're equal to. And then I like to just kind of close that off and then know that this is what I'm working towards. So what do I have so far? Angle A is 20 degrees. Beautiful. Okay, angle B is 60 degrees. Can I find angle C? Yeah, 100%. So my trick is just to go, whoa, 180 minus 60, and then minus 20 more, and there we go. It's going to be 100. So angle C has to be 100 degrees. Notice none of these are 90. So I can't use SOHCAHTOA if none of them are 90. Okay. So what we have to use is law of sines or law of cosines. In this case, law of sines is going to work. Okie dokie. I know that little a is 10. All right. So to solve using law of sines, one of these three has to be locked in. Okay. So if I give you three sides, we can't use law of sines. If I give you three angles, we can't use law of sines. I have to have one side and its opposite angle. Okay, we got to lock one of these in. And one of these is locked in. Our A is locked in, right? We have an angle and the opposite side. So we've got this locked in. So I'm going to write that down. Sine of 20 degrees over side A, which is 10, has to be equal to sine of 60 degrees over B. And that also has to be equal to sine of 100 degrees over C. Okay. And all I need to do now is take two of them at a time. Okay. So I'm going to take these two and solve it. Okay. I'm going to solve for B. All right. So to solve for B here, let's write this down again. Sine of 20 degrees over 10 equals sine of 60 degrees over B. I think a good first step, right, when we have fraction equals fraction, is to do cross products. So B times sine of 20 degrees equals 10 times sine of 60 degrees. Cool. So there's my first step. Second thing I need to do is divide both sides by sine of 20 degrees. So I'm going to get B is equal to 10 sine 60 degrees over sine of 20 degrees. And now I have solved for side B. Beautiful, right? So let's do this. So 10 sine of 60. Again, I need to make sure that that I went to mode right here. I went to mode and made sure we're in degrees, right? So that's always a check. But we are, so I'm good. So I'm going to write that in first, and I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to divide that by sine of 20. So by sine of 20 equals, and there we go. We get 25.321. B equals 25.321. There we go. I'm going to put it up here, 25.321. I cannot use Pythagorean here. Why not? Because this is not a 90-degree angle, right? We do not have, this is not a right triangle. Right triangle only for Pythagorean and for SOHCAHTOA, right? So we can't use those. So what can I do? Well, I can do the same thing that I did before, but now I'm going to take sine of 20 and it's going to equal this. All right, so let's do that. I kind of ran out of room here. Sine 20 degrees over 10 is equal to sine of 100 degrees over C. That's hot, right? We do cross products. We're going to eventually end up with C is equal to 10 times sine of 100 degrees divided by sine of 20 degrees. Okay, I'm just using what happened here, except I'm switching C and angle C. Okay, but again, we could do cross products. We'd get C times this equals 10 times this. Then I would need to divide both sides by sine of 20. So that's how I would get this. All right, so let's plug it into our calculator. Ready? 10 sine of 100 equals divided by sine of 20 equals. And there we go, 28.79, looks like 4. 28.794. Now, here's what I always do. I always ask myself, does this make sense? Is C, which is the largest distance, is that going along with the largest degrees? And it is. Is the smallest side going with the smallest angle? Yes, it is. Is the middlest side going with the middlest angle? Yes, it is. That's a good, quick way to check. I'm probably on the right track. Cool? Cool. All right, here we go. So let's do angle side angle. Same thing, same thing. So let's go angle A, angle B, angle C. A equals B equals C equals ching, ching. Let's go 80, 50. So that means this one also has to be 50. So angle A is 80, and then B and C are both 50. Notice that that adds up to 180, right? 100 plus 80 is 180. So we're good there. Side C is over here. So C is equal to 20. Side B would be here. Side A would be here. Now, there's something special here. What do we know about the situation that we have here? If it's 80, 50, 50. Yeah, if you're saying, wait, is B equal to 20? You are 100%, right? Because this is an isosceles triangle, right? So if an angle is the same as another angle, its opposite side will be the same. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So we only have one thing to do in this problem. How great is that? All right, so here's what we've got. We've got sine of 80 degrees divided by A equals sine of 50 degrees over 20, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by A. I'm going to multiply this side by 20, and then I'm going to divide by sine of 50. So A is equal to 20 sine of 80 degrees divided by sine of 50 degrees. And let's plug that in. 20 sine 80 equals divided by sine of 50 equals 25.712. 25.712. There we go. Okay. I would probably put a squiggly equal sign. Anytime I'm kind of rounding things, doing that is a good idea. Cool, cool. All right, there we go. You did it, people. You did it. So proud of you. That was fun. Law of sines. There we go. Again, you don't have to memorize it. To use it, it works for these two scenarios, but one of these, one must be locked in. Okay. One of these three has to be locked in where you have the top and the bottom ready to go. Then you can solve the other ones, right? Good stuff. All right, people. That's it. See ya.